Cooley Kyle here. Hello.
Suave.
And what are you going by?
Omar, I don't know.
Omar is with us.
Street name for Bible study.
Yeah, you want a street name for Bible study?
That'll be fine.
Oh, I forgot to press start stream. Or is it already going?
I think it's going.
Make sure your video drivers are up to date. Let's see if we can, I guess maybe we'll just upload this one to Rumble after. So, all right. Well, we are in day 38 of the book of Revelation Bible study, but we are in chapter 17. So, we are going to start reading the devotional. And it feels like reading. Should we throw Omar under the bus?
No.
I'll do it.
All right.
All right. The final great image in Revelation is the marriage of the Lamb and his bride in the garden city, echoing but far transcending the union from Adam and Eve in the original garden in Genesis. There is a divine order within which God has created the world to be. This image of the whore of Babylon, bride of Christ, and traded God's best self-gratification and the worship of lesser things. Chapter 17 offers us both challenge and encouragement. We are challenged to see the ways of this world for what they really are and not to give in to the way of the beast around us and within us. We can be encouraged because the Lamb in this war, because he is the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings. And we can rest in hope that with him will be his called, chosen and faithful followers. Verses 14. May we be those included in that group.
All right. I just saw this on Facebook where somebody's like asking like, who is the bride? Right. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting just to think like the Lamb and his bride in the garden city, echoing but far transcending the union of Adam and Eve in the original garden. So it's just the marriage of Jesus and his church, the people, the body of believers. All right. Omar. Popcorn Omar.
No, I don't want to.
You want to go?
I'm not very...
This is practice reading publicly. Nobody's watching.
Yeah. I'm not very good at reading.
Well, how do you think you get better?
I don't know.
This is a great exercise. Just ask Sophie. I threw her under the bus with all the weird. This one's far better.
Yeah. How many different names were there? 38 that one time?
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Here, I'll give you a break. All right. Babylon, the prostitute on the beast. One of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came and said to me, "Come, I will show you the punishment of the great prostitute who sits by many waters. With her, the kings of the earth committed adultery, and the inhabitants of the earth were intoxicated with the wine of her adulteries." Then the angel carried me away in the spirit into a wilderness. There I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast that was covered with blasphemous names, that had 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was dressed in purple and scarlet, and was glittering with gold, precious stones, and pearls. She held a golden cup in her hand, filled with abominable things, and her filth, and the filth of her adulteries. The name written on her forehead was a mystery: Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes and the abominations of the earth. What a thing to be written on your forehead. God. So you want to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw that the woman was drunk with the blood of God's holy people, the blood of those who bore testimony to Jesus. When I saw her, I was greatly astonished. Then the angel said to me, "Why are you astonished? I will explain to you the mystery of the woman and the beast she rides, which has 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast which you saw once was, now is not, and yet will come up out of the abyss and go to its destruction. The inhabitants of of the earth whose names have not been written in the book of life from the creation of the world will be astonished when they see the beast, because it once was, now is not, and yet will come. This calls for a mind with wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 hills on which the woman sits. They are also 7 kings. 5 have fallen, 1 is, the other has not yet come, but when he does come, he must remain for only a little while. The beast who once was and now is not is an 8th king. He belongs to the 7 and is going to his destruction.
That's like quite the tongue twister, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say.
Omar, or you want me to do this?
You got it.
You got it. Let's do your preliminary evaluation.
From where to where?
Just 15.
Then
Right? Or wait, did we do this?
10 horns
12?
you saw.
No.
From 12 down. Or
The 10 horns you saw are 10 kings who have not yet received a kingdom, but who for 1 hour will receive authority as kings along with the beast. They have one purpose and will give their power and authority to the beast. They will wage war against the Lamb, but the Lamb will triumph over them because he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And with him will be his called, chosen, and faithful followers. Then the angel said to me, the waters you saw where the prostitutes sit are people, multitudes, nations, and languages. The beast and the horns you saw will hate the prostitute. They will bring her to ruin and leave her naked. They will eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For God has put it into their hearts to accomplish his purpose by agreeing to hand over to the beast their royal authority until God's words are fulfilled. The woman you saw is the great city that rules over the kings of the earth.
interesting. Do you guys have any interpretation of this? Any thoughts?
Well, my one, I guess, question would be, is do they mean the word prostitute as it is used now?
In the literal, yeah. So it's more of a figurative use, being like you're selling yourself out. So like of your true value, you're giving something of real value for basically the knockoffs. So that's kind of what the other Bible study that Shane has alludes to, is that like people are chasing the things of the world, the greed, the lust, the vanity, all of those things, instead of the true deeper relationship with God. So that's kind of what it's alluding to. So we'll play just a little bit of that just so that you guys can hear that, because I actually think he's really good. Just good to stimulate the mind a little bit. I'll finish reading Isaiah 47. I think I wrote down in here, I was at like, of my multiple notebooks, where was I at? If you want to find 40 minutes, well, that's where we're at, but I'll read Isaiah 47. Isaiah 47 says, the fall of Babylon. Go down, sit in the dust, virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground without a throne, queen city of the Babylonians. No more. This cursor is very sensitive. Sit on the ground without a throne, queen city of the Babylonians. No more will you be called tender or delicate. Take millstones and grind flour. Take off your veil. Lift up your skirts, bare your legs, and wade through the streams. Your nakedness will be exposed and your shame uncovered. I will take vengeance. I will spare no one. A Redeemer, the Lord Almighty is his name, is the Holy One of Israel. Sit in silence, go into darkness, queen city of the Babylonians. No more will you be called queen of kingdoms. I was angry with my people and desecrated my inheritance. I gave them into your hand, and you showed them no mercy. Even on the age you laid a very heavy yoke. You said, I am forever the eternal queen. But you did not consider these things or reflect on what might happen. Now then, listen to your lover of pleasure, lounging in your security and saying to yourself, I am, and there is none besides me. I will never be a widow or suffer the loss of children. Both of these will overtake you in a moment, on a single day, loss of children and widowhood. It will come upon you in full measure, in spite of your many sorceries and all your potent spells. You have trusted in your wickedness and have said, no one sees me. Your wisdom and knowledge mislead you when you say to yourself, I am, and there is none besides me. Disaster will come upon you, and you will not know how to conjure it away. A calamity will fall upon you that you cannot ward off with a ransom. A catastrophe you cannot see will suddenly come upon you. Keep on them with your magic spells and your many sorceries, which you have labored at since childhood. Perhaps you will succeed, perhaps you will cause terror. All of the counsel you have received has only worn you out. Let your astrologers come forward, those stargazers who make predictions month by month. Let them save you from what is coming upon you. Surely they are like stubble, the fire will burn them up. They cannot even save themselves from the power of the flame. They are not the coals for warmth. This is not a fire to sit by. That is all they are to you. These you have dealt with and labored with since childhood. All of them go in their error. There is not one that can save you. Sounds intense, but I like it. All right, so let's see what do we got. Go ahead and let's let that play for maybe a few minutes and just see if there's anything interesting.
Verse 13, then I saw 3 evil spirits that looked like frogs. What does that remind me of? Exodus! Yes, exactly. They came out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. First time that the second beast has been called the false prophet, even though that's how he functioned in Revelation chapter 13. He will be called the false prophet once more in chapter 19, 11 through 21, when he's cast into the fiery lake of sulfur. They are spirits of demons. The frogs are spirits of demons performing miraculous signs. And they go out to the kings of the whole world to gather them for the battle on the great day of God Almighty. Oh, baby, we're about ready to hit the battle. But we'll get there in just a minute. First, we have an interlude. Right? What is lobbed right in the middle of there? In my Bible, one little phrase that's all stinking red. See that? Interlude. What are the functions of the interludes in each of the 7 judgments? To tell exactly how the church is supposed to, it's the message for the church. The first seal was an interlude in chapter 7 all the way through 8 and verse 5. And what was that interlude telling the church? The seals. What's the interlude tell the church? Yes. Who is able to say, you are spiritually secure. You are secure. You can stand, church. Therefore, then comes the trumpet interlude in chapter 10 all the way up through 11 verse 15. Go witness. Because you're spiritually secure, go witness. Here comes the third element to that puzzle. Right here, one verse. The third beatitude. Behold, I come like a thief. What? You mean I can't predict you at this point? I'm in chapter 16 and I don't have a roadmap yet? No, I come like a thief. But I can just count all the seals and the trumpets, and then I've already gone through 6. You only have one more bowl. How hard is it going to be to predict the last bowl? And Jesus says, well, you're reading it wrong. Because I still come like a thief. It's chapter 16. He says, sorry, I'm coming like a thief. You're not going to know. I'm just going to come. And so, blessed is he who stays awake. What would falling asleep then be? Yeah. Ethically not being who you're supposed to be. And keeps his clothes with him. Twofold. What is that emphasizing? Clothing. Ethics. Blessed is the one that does what he's supposed to do, so that he may not go naked and be shamefully exposed. Here's how the 3 of them interplay. The seals comes along and it says, you're spiritually secure. Who can stand? You can stand. Therefore, get out there and witness the trumpets. How do I witness? By what you do, the bowls. See how that works? You're spiritually secure. Awesome. So go witness. How do I witness? By what you do and what you don't do. By how you're clothed. By if you're awake or if you're asleep. Your ethics matter. What you do and what you don't do matter. Which is why he has emphasized over and over, I know your deeds. Or I will repay each of them according to what they have done. Or their deeds will follow them. So therefore, whenever he comes back unexpectedly, do not be found asleep. Do not be found naked. Be awake and fully clothed. How? By what you do. Church. And finally the church sits back and they go, that is a complete message. That's pretty clear. I'm spiritually secure. I know who I am. Therefore get out and witness. I know what to do. How do I witness? By doing it. By doing stuff. By what you do. How you live. Back to the bowls. Verse 16. Then they gathered the kings together to the place that in Hebrew is called Armageddon. We have arrived. Finally,
pretty entertaining.
We've been looking for it for quite some time now. All the cowboys are running out. They're grabbing their guns, right? What happens? What is odd? There is no battle. Huh?
That'd be
So
wild.
they gather for battle, but there isn't one. This happens 3 times in Revelation. This is the first. They gather for battle, and you think, here it comes, the battle to end all battles. And right before there's a battle, bam, it's over. This will happen in Revelation chapter 19, verses 11 through 21, where they will gather all the people for battle. They gather together, and what happens? The one right on the white horse comes, wipes them out. Revelation chapter 20, 7 through 10, they all gather for battle with the dragon that's just been released from the abyss. Yes, in the prison in the abyss. And what happens? They surround the church about ready to start the battle, and fire comes down and wipes them out. 19, 11 through 21. Rider on the white horse comes. Here's the point. We've taken Armageddon, and we've made it something that was never meant to be. Do you know what that stands for? The actual Hebrew word that's combining? My Hebrew scholars help me out. Har Megiddo. What would that be? Har. What is Har? Huh? Mount Megiddo. Mount Megiddo. They gather for battle on a mountain. Really, there's a valley of Megiddo, and there's kind of plateaus around it. And some people have tried to locate a place called Mount Megiddo, but there really isn't a Mount Megiddo. Megiddo was the place, though, of all these Old Testament scenes over and over and over again, where there's battle after battle, because it was in a key strategic location in the earth, where the battle usually would come, they would culminate on the plains of Megiddo, because that was kind of like the major route they would have to go through to get to the different places of the battle. You follow me? North and south. They usually filter through Megiddo. Thousands of people have been slain on that plains. Just look up Megiddo through the Old Testament. It's everywhere. But here he's saying it's like those battles, but there isn't a battle. Why? Why would there be the appearance of a battle, but not one ever really fought? We've already won. Because when was the battle really fought? Right here. Cross and the resurrection. Right? Which is why in Revelation chapter 19, verse 11, you'll see the rider on the white horse coming to the battle with his robe already dipped in blood, even before the battle began. Why? Why is his robe dipped in blood? Because he's walking to the battle wearing the garments where the victory was already secured for the battle they think they're going to fight. See, what happens is these people are gathering for what they think is a battle, but they're actually gathering for their execution. Because there is no battle.
Lovely.
There never is in Revelation. There's just judgment. Because the battle has already been won. But man, from the world's perspective, from Satan's perspective, we can still win. Gather for battle. We still have a chance. They don't. Because the tomb's empty. Gather together and in Megiddo, we will fight like the days of old. No, you won't. No, you won't. Because it's over. Because as soon as they gather for battle, all of a sudden, verse 17, the seventh angel pours out the bowl into the air. And out of the temple came a loud voice from the throne saying, "It is done." Oh, with all that is in me, I wish I said Tetelestai. Oh, baby. Or John chapter 19, verse 30, where Jesus is on the cross and he screams out Tetelestai, it is finished. But John didn't put that here. It is done. What is done? What is done? Yeah, the old creation, the old order. It's all finished. It's done. Judgment's here. It's over. Then there came flashes of lightning, rumbling, peals of thunder, and a severe earthquake. You could have predicted that. Right? Because at the end of every one of the sevens, what happens? Flashes of lightning, rumblings, peals of thunder, and usually an earthquake or a hailstorm right here. It's going to be the biggest earthquake that ever happened. Why? Because we're over. No more capitulations. No earthquake like it has ever occurred since man has been on earth, so tremendous was the quake. The great city split into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations collapsed. What's the great city? Maybe Babylon. It's actually what's going to be defined here in a minute. Although, what we can say is that both of them equal the same thing. Those that don't belong to God. Hold on one second, I'll get your question. The great city split into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations collapsed. God remembered Babylon the Great and gave her the cup filled with the winepress of the fury of his wrath. He was making that winepress, that wine, for a reason, to give it to her. It's his wrath. Every island fled away, and the mountains could not be found. What's that sound like? 6th seal. From the sky, huge hailstones of about 100 pounds, each fell upon men, and they cursed God. Notice again their response. They cursed God on account of the plague of hail because the plague was so terrible. Even at the very last of people's lives, you'll see people shaking their fist. That's just who they are. Justin.
The statement is that, how does that relate to what the mighty angel in chapter 10 said about it, the mystery of God's judgment being fulfilled in the last seal? Like, what mystery is he talking about that is fulfilled at the 7th seal?
7th seal?
The 7th, I did this. That's the 7th chunk, never mind.
Okay.
I thought we were on the bull stakes, sorry.
Okay, so your question's fine?
Yeah.
Good, glad we answered it. I was confused. Yeah.
So, I guess you could pause it there. I want to get your guys' perspective or opinion.
On.
Well, whatever he said, if something resonated or like was relatable to you.
I mean, it made sense.
Is it interesting how the parallels like the clothing?
With the ethics?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't... that's not the first thing that I would have thought of.
Me either.
I would have thought it was like your self-protection as the clothing. That's what I would have perceived it as more.
More like, okay, like
What
protection.
you're willing to do to protect yourself. Like the things that you aren't and are willing to do to protect yourself, which I guess would be ethics, maybe.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because it parallels to that, but in a different way, right? Mm-hmm. This kind of like takes you back to Genesis, where you think about like before that we knew that we were naked, like there was no problem, but then when we ate of the tree of knowledge, then we knew all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Which kind of inputs that moral, ethical, like now we know the difference between good and evil. And maybe, I mean, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's interesting to look at themes and like what they use as different, like, because you would think, I mean, if we don't have shame, right? But I mean, at that point, it's kind of like what separates us from the animals. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
No, not really. Don't really understand it, but
This is by far the most intense, like, you know, and I was pretty convinced that I felt like more of the Bible was more like literal, like, but when you get into this, like, the way that this is written is in a way that it's kind of talking about you know, the parallels of, at that time it was the city of Babylon to Rome, because this was written while Rome was an active empire, but talking about building this. Basically, there's like these cycles of humans go through these cycles where we like build an empire, a civilization, and at the lowest, like you'll see a lot of like typically like third world nations are, they're rich in spirit but poor materially. And then as you get more material wealth, typically you leave the spiritual wealth behind. And so it's this recurring theme that you see is actually super interesting to me because it's always it's been symbolized, and I don't really know about Babylon, so I won't speak on that, but like Rome, the Nazi Germany, and then also America were all symbolized by the symbol of the eagle. So that's actually like equated to in the book of Revelation when you read through some of that, and you're like, that's kind of wild.
Yeah, that is kind of wild.
But anyways, we're done. So do you guys want to, you want to do a prayer?
Yeah, you want to do a prayer?
I think Omar wants to do a prayer. I'm sure Omar probably doesn't want to pray on YouTube. Okay, I'll do it. So, dear God, just thank you for being with us. Thank you for just us having a moment to just focus on you and what you have for us, even though this may not immediately pertain to what we're doing, but just that your words can seep into our mind, body, and soul, and that we can just be mindful of the way that we are clothed, our ethics, who, what, and how, and when are they portrayed, and just that you'll permeate the fabric of who we are and the way that we do portray ourselves, that we can glorify and honor you with our thoughts, attitudes, and actions. And I just pray, God, that you keep us all safe, including Justice. Just keep us under veil of your protection, as well as just everybody, all of our friends and family and the people watching this. But also fill us full of your joy and keep us prosperous, keep us faithful, and keep us filled with energy to go forth and do your will and honor you in the way that we do it. But just be present with us and let us keep you in the forefront of our mind and hearts as we go forward throughout the rest of the day and the week. In your name, amen.
Amen.
All right. Thank you guys for joining. And I'll post this up on Rumble since I messed up the streaming. But have a beautiful day and God bless. Bye-bye.